All right, so let us officially get this interview started. So let me do my intro. Greetings, YouTubers. It is your illustrious Lady Rouge One Full here, and I am here once again with the one and only Monica Rial.
I feel like Kermit, not GIF.
All right, I definitely know you have had like I pulled up the wrong set of questions. This was from the last interview.
Hey!
Bad me.
No, you're good.
Bad me. There we go. Okay, so I've had a little bit harder time coming up with questions this time because I asked most of my questions from you last time. So this first one will basically lead into like the next privy of questions that I have just on my head, not even written down. So awesome. You and Jamie Markey have recently started a podcast, which I am waiting for episode 2. Tell us about it.
So we decided to start a podcast. For those that don't know, there was a situation with a colleague who was handsy, and we called attention to it. And as a result, said colleague then sued us for defamation. And we are now in appeals. He's in appeals because the whole thing was thrown out.
I don't understand how that's still going. It's been 3 years. Take your L.
But so Jamie and I have really competent, awesome lawyers who were like, hey, don't talk about this because this is an ongoing case. Well, now that it's been in appeals for over a year and a half and we're just kind of waiting, we were like, okay, as long as we don't introduce any new information that hasn't already been presented, because we don't know what's going to happen from here, so we don't want to lay all of our cards out on the table, right?
Right.
As long as we don't present any new information, we can talk about our experience. So we decided that it would be therapeutic and healing for us and for you guys just to hear our side of the story, because nobody has. And we've been painted to be these horrible monsters. And we knew before we got sued, like the person that contacted us made it, we'll just call him the Flat Earther. When the Flat Earther contacted us, he made it very clear that there was going to be a social media press against us. We just didn't realize to what extent. So this has been calculated from the very beginning, right? So we kept our mouths shut, but after a while, the misinformation got so crazy, right? That it was like, I think we need to like do something to correct some of this. You know, let's make sure people know that we are not in the Illuminati, that we are not in cahoots with George Soros, that we're not lizard people. Like just the most ridiculousness, like just basic. Not just that, like I want to point out, like I want to make it clear to people that this is not a podcast about bashing the plaintiff. That is not it at all. It's a podcast that's about the harassment that we've experienced as victims speaking up, and the ridiculousness of even bringing a lawsuit against us. The first episode, we talk about the timeline that his lawyer introduced, which basically showed that, you know, he was fired well before either one of us ever said a darn thing.
Right.
So it's like, how does this happen? But I think more than anything, we wanted people to see that, you know, we weren't all, oh, woe is me. Like we've gone through something traumatic together and we've done the work to start the healing process. And this is just an extended part of the healing process, but also to give a safe space to victims to understand, like, you know, you're going to be harassed. It doesn't matter. And it sucks. It really sucks. But you cannot let that harassment stop you from speaking your truth. And that's basically it.
And for anybody wondering where to listen to the podcast, it is called willbeintouch.com. If you get the reference, you get the reference.
We had to, like, you know, be
absolutely. This is the best name for a podcast ever. But I'm just like really curious, like when the initial lawsuit like came about, like what was you and Jamie's like reaction to that? Because from what I remember, he got goaded on by his toxic ass fan base to sue.
So what I understand, and again, this is just my experience, we were approached by Mr. Flat Earther before all of this came out and basically said like, hey, he's talking to lawyers, you know, you guys might want to do something about this. And we were like, look, we told the truth. Like, I don't know what you want me to say, but I'm not gonna say that I was lying just to appease him because he doesn't like what I have to say. Like, I have the right to speak the truth. And this person has hurt so many people at this point, and so many people close to me, that I'm like, I can no longer be silent. I can no longer just be quiet about this. I think that it was a scare tactic. I think that they didn't like what we were saying, and they thought that by bringing this lawsuit, it would shut us up. And I think that that is apparent in the absolute lack of evidence, of the quality of the legal counsel, just everything. Like, it was
favorite line.
Proven.
My favorite line from that whole day in court is the judge telling Beard, "I don't think you have any evidence, and that's your problem." The best.
That was solely the thing, and it gets frustrating, you know, because you have the harassers that are like, well, where's your evidence? And we're like, well, we've got like 17 affidavits of firsthand testimony, not he said, she said, like, this happened to me. And they had, their evidence was one contract to a convention that he had attended. So it's like, and it wasn't even for the right year. So in order to prove damages, you have to prove that you were financially damaged in some way, and there was nothing. They presented nothing to that effect. So
exactly
that, and we also we're under the understanding that, you know, he had talked to several different lawyers, and they told him he didn't have a case.
And then he found the one dude. And the thing is, when this first started, I was heavily invested in everything, and I had looked this up. Beard had never worked. He had never worked a defamation case before. Never.
He's not a litigator. He is an estate attorney, which
for
watching, like, basically divvies up assets, and also like people who have trust funds.
Like Nick Recchietta, who
he pays their trust funds. So they were completely unprepared for this. And if anything, I feel bad for the fans who contributed to that GoFundMe, because their money was ill spent.
It was so bad. Like, it's been 3 years and it's never reached that last stretch goal.
I just feel bad for the people that donated, because it's like, if I had donated to a cause that I felt strongly about and then it was bungled like that, I would be like, I want my money back. And in a way, I feel bad for the plaintiff, because he has been used. He
also got scammed. He did 100%. He got scammed because
as a result, he won't be able to work. And it's
because I was telling his fan base, like, if he had literally done nothing, while it sucks and it shouldn't happen, people would have forgotten and moved on. It sucks, and I wish like that doesn't happen, but he escalated it to a point where no one could ignore it, where it literally leaked out of our little anime community into public news. So it's like, this got massively huge. So like, what do you want anyone to do about it? Because we can't ignore it. Like, people on the outside who probably never cared about anime was like, oh, well, look at this. You sued your victims for speaking out. This looks terrible.
Yeah. And I think that's why the podcast is so important to us, is to show other victims and people, like, don't be afraid to speak your truth just because people might try to break you down. We've seen so many, like, I think of Lizzo and how she was terrorized online to the point where she, you know, shut down her Instagram and stuff, and then came back, and it was like, good for you, because it is easy to fall prey to those trolls and those people, but we need to stop the bullying. Like, this is like schoolyard bullying, and we're adults. Well, most of us are adults. So it's like, let's act like adults and stop like bullying each other like children. It's very silly.
Okay. All right. So that kind of goes down all the stuff at the top of my head in relation to that. All right. So next question. Do you have a favorite moment in My Hero season 5, either by your own character or someone else's character?
Oh my goodness. I'm at the point now where all of the seasons kind of meld together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't get to do a whole lot of it in season 5, but remind me, I might be incorrect, but wasn't one of Tsuyu's work study episodes in season 5?
Oh, I don't
remember. Or was that
remember.
season 4?
I don't either. I think the work studies were more in season 4.
I thought so too. Okay. I don't remember. I know I didn't do a whole lot in season 5. And I remember being like, because now that we're doing simuldubs, you know, for My Hero, usually it'll be like, hey, Monica, we need you for 15 minutes. And then I go in and go, ribbit. And then I'm like done for the week. So season 5, I didn't have a whole lot to do. I'm hoping maybe in the next season I'll have more to do. I definitely love her. And the more screen time she gets, the better, in my opinion, just because I'm a little biased. I think she's awesome.
All right. What's been your favorite role of 2021?
2021. See, and again, I feel like time just is kind of a false construct after the pandemic. Like, I don't even know what year was what anymore. I will say Uzuki-chan and Uzuki-chan Wants to Hang Out was by far one of my favorites because she was a surprise, right? Like, you looked on the internet and there was all of this like drama around the show and people trying to paint it as something it wasn't. So much so that the director was thinking about using a pseudonym because she was like, ooh, what if this is a really ecchi show? And when we started working on it, we're like, this is delightful. Like, it's a cute little show. There's nothing gross about it. And working with Rico and having, you know, all of that with so much comedy and ridiculousness, that was a lot of fun.
I find it
really
weird the hills people are willing to die on, because there's a lot of there's valid criticism you can make about anime and the fan service. A lot of valid criticism, especially considering that a lot of the fan service are with underaged characters. But Uzuki is an adult. She's a
college age girl.
Yeah, she just looks kind of young. But those people exist in real life too.
That's what I was trying to explain to somebody is like, you know, I have friends that were 4'11" and had huge boobs in college. That's just it's a body type. And so, yeah, I'm sorry that you don't think that exists in the real world, but I can show you pictures of people who actually looked and acted like that when I was in college. So I think it's really interesting to me too that some of the people that tried to die on that hill are the same people that watch the Lily stuff and have no problem with it.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Wait,
exactly that.
I'm like,
how are you mad at this but not the other thing?
This is an adult. Like, these are children. This is like an adult. So
like, exactly, like if you're more mad about that, like, you're kind of sus. Well. All right. Do you have a favorite con you attended in 2021?
Oh gosh, there were so many good ones. I will say I did a very small con. I can't even remember the name. This is awful. I did a smaller convention in Houston, and it was one of the first ones after the pandemic. And that was huge because it was in Houston. So it was in my hometown. So I got to see, like, one of my dearest friends from middle school came to see me and all this stuff. It was really fun. But also it was the first time getting back to it. And so it was a nice little test run of conventions. And so that one was really great. But I have such a good time at all conventions. Like, there's not any one particular one that usually sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's events at every single one that I'm like, this was awesome and that was awesome. But really, to me, the best part is meeting the folks, like meeting the fans and stuff, and chatting and getting to nerd out about anime, because I don't do a whole lot of that at home, you know.
All right. What is arguably the evilest character you've played?
Tanya in the saga of Tanya the Evil, by far evil. And what I love about her is, as an actor, of course, you don't want to play the evil, right? Because that's just boring. That makes for a very one-sided villain that nobody really cares about, right? In my opinion, as an actor, if you're playing a villain, you have to come from the perspective of the villain thinks they're in the right. And everybody else is wrong. Right. So it was really difficult, given I'm a history buff and I love history, and this show is a historical fiction. Knowing where she was in that historical line and trying to put myself in the perspective of I'm doing the right thing, and then having to go home and take a shower because I feel so gross about it. Like, but there are moments, because I don't get to play a lot of villains. I play a lot of, I guess maybe my voice just lends itself to sweet and yay. So getting to play such a vicious villain, there were times where I would get tickled because I'm like, oh, I can't believe she just did that. I can't believe I said that. What is going on? But she was so much fun. She really is so much fun.
I would definitely enjoy playing an evil character just
Yes.
because they're just so much fun. When they revel in the fact that they're evil, oh, it's so much fun to just do that. Like either that or like some child characters, because my child voice freaks out my friends, because you hear how I sound. Like my voice is kind of like in the mid to low kind of range. But then I do my child voice and oh, that's not even good. Like I can bring it like basically up here. This is the highest it can go. And it's more comfortable for me to do this than do like my deepest register possible.
That's awesome. That's good though that you're finding those limits, because that's the first thing I tell people is like, find your limits. See how high you can go. See how low you can go. Play with it. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, my deepest register is not the most comfortable thing for me to keep doing for several hours. My highest register, surprisingly enough, is.
That's good. That's a good thing though.
All right. What is one of your favorite things oh my God, I can't read. What's one of your favorite things about playing a Kuro from Restaurant to Another World?
Oh my gosh. Telepathy. She speaks in telepathy 98% of the time. I don't have to match lip flaps. I mean, I love Kuro. Don't get me wrong. I love her. One of my complaints though on working on that show is I'm hungry every time I get out of the booth because the food is so beautifully animated. I don't even like curry, but I'm like, after that, I will eat the crap out of some curry because it looks so beautiful. But I love her because she's so soft-spoken, but so powerful, being a dragon. I love that she's like, hey, look, I'll come over here and I'll help you with your waitressing gig as long as you feed me. I think that's also a lot of fun. But man, the telepathy, there is something that's really awesome about not even having to worry about lip flaps. It's like an actor's dream.
All right. Are there any tropes in anime that make you go, okay, really?
There's quite a few. Quite a few. It's interesting because I find that anime is kind of in this period right now where they're trying to find new and exciting, journeys and adventures that we haven't seen before. And with that brings a whole new range of tropes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of the older ones, yeah, there's definitely, I mean, I love this type of character because I play them so often, but I know that it's like, all right, come on, Japan. Like, so the character that is really, really annoying, but adorable. So you don't know if you want to murder them or hug them, right? Like your Renges, Uzukis, like those kinds of characters. Like that's a trope that I'm like, I get it. I totally get it. But it seems like in every single anime, there's at least one of those characters. And it's like, are we trying to like annoy the fan base? Or like, is there a market? Like, is there somebody in Japan that's like, annoying characters? Yeah. I don't know. But I love playing them because I do like that duality of like making people like have this inner struggle of do I love her or do I hate her? I don't know. I'm not quite positive. So that part's fun.
Okay. How does it feel to play one of the strongest female leads in the show of the oh my God, I can't read. I cannot read. What English hard? How does it feel to play one of the stronger female leads of the show Mereoleona? I can't pronounce it.
Mereoleona!
Yes, Mereoleona. Thank you. Thank you.
No, she's fantastic. She came along kind of when all of that stuff was happening online, and the director, Chris George, was like, I feel like you would probably really like to yell at people right now. I was like, yeah, I would love to get some aggression out. He's like, cool, I got a character for you. And so when I came in and I saw her and she's this badass, fiery woman who's like really low and awesome, I was like, yes. She was fantastic. And I was able to put a lot of the aggression and anger that I was feeling and channel it into that. So there were times when I was like, yes, I'm going to yell at people. This is great. But she's such a great character. I will say, people really like her. in ways that I would not have figured. So be really careful when you Google image searches of her.
No, I have to keep safe search on.
I was like, I didn't need to see that, but
But so you kind of treated it like a therapy session. You just get out the booth like 3 hours. They're like, oh, that felt so good.
sometimes, and I say this all the time, but it's true. Sometimes getting into the booth is free therapy, right? You get to cry, you get to laugh your heart out, you get to scream at people, you get to fight. So whenever people are like, well, how are you always so chipper? And I'm like, well, I get all my aggression out in the booth. Like, I don't have to do it in real life. I can come home and be a total sweetheart, even if I had a rough day because I just fought somebody or, you know, murdered a ninja or whatever I did that day. Like, just get it all out.
Okay, so I had some of my friends in Discord like try to help me out with some of these questions because I was blanking really hard.
No, you're good.
All right, so going forward with Nero, what has it been like playing a character that has been through so much as she has, and what oh my god, and what was your thought process of finding out more of her past?
She was so interesting because when I started, of course, spoiler alert, started off. No,
spoilers.
You know, being the bird, I just would come in like once every, 3 months and be like, "Kark, kark, 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 kark," and that was it. And I would leave. So I was cast as Mereoleona. We got through that. And then the director was like, hey, I need to like do an audition with you. And I was like, okay, cool. For what show? And he's like, Black Clover. And I went, dude, I'm already up in that piece like twice. Like, what? Okay. And he's like, well, so the bird. So I had to do an audition to make sure that she would sound different enough than the Mereoleona. So because sometimes they're on at the same time. And I tell you what an interesting character. I loved that in the beginning, I knew something was up, right? Because that bird was way in Asta's business. I'm like, nothing's going on here.
Like, you're too smart.
I never realized that it was going to become the character that she is. And Sakura has been just so cool and such a blessing because she's the antithesis of Mereoleona. So getting to play one and then come and play this other incredibly strong woman, but strong without having to ever raise her voice is just a completely different feel. And she's got such a tragic backstory. And she's just, that show altogether just surprised me in the characterization. And as an actress, like, I just have so much fun on that show. And I love all of those characters so much. But yeah, Sakura is definitely like the yin to Mereoleona's yang, at least for me in the booth. And I really enjoyed playing the differences between them.
Okay, so sometimes you guys will work on shows, but you never like meet the other actor that you're working with, even if they're your co-star. Like, what was it like meeting like one of the first actors you ever just like worked with, but never actually like saw?
So this is a funny story. Lucy Christian and I, when we did Fullmetal Panic way back in the day, we had done quite a few shows. Fullmetal Panic was her first one, but then she very quickly did a bunch of shows. And so we had heard each other's voices and everything. Back then, conventions were very different. So we went to a convention and they were like, okay, cool. Well, you're going to be sharing a room with your colleague, Lucy Christian. And I'm like, I'm sharing a hotel room with somebody I've never met before. Like, they didn't realize. They were like, well, you guys play best friends and do all this. So obviously you know each other. And we had never met. So the first time I met Lucy was her and I bunking together for a weekend. And luckily we became like super good friends because it could have gone one way or the other. So luckily it went this way. But yeah, it was super cool because she was still relatively new to it and I had been doing it a little longer. So we were able to talk about the industry and hang out with Chris and Greg and do all of the stuff. It was a lot of fun. It could have been much different if it had been somebody else, just because like, imagine just being thrown in a room with somebody you've never met for the whole weekend.
Exactly.
But it's so cool. I love meeting people that I haven't gotten to work with. Like, for instance, I did that show, Combatants Will Be Dispatched, and I still haven't gotten to meet Brendan Blaber in person yet. And I would really love to. We have to make it happen. But yeah, there's quite a few people I haven't gotten to meet. So, you okay?
Yeah, no,
it's not the COVID, is it?
No. I have
I'm
this.
kidding.
have this like post nasal drip thing, and it's irritating me because it will screw up it will like cause me to like produce phlegm, and of course like when I'm recording, it's like I have to clear my throat constantly.
It happens. I've been there.
So what are some lines that you improvised that they kept in a show?
So I can't remember if this one was improvised or not. I think Chris said it was improvised, but the whole in Battle of Gods, when Bulma looks down at everybody after she meets Beerus and Whis, and she says, "Hey, you guys, Vegeta has friends." Apparently I improvised that. I don't remember whether or not. I just remember enjoying that line.
Wow.
There's another one in Dead Man Wonderland where she says something like a ninja, like real quiet. So that was another one. Every once in a while I will add something in, but very rarely, because I tend to be one of those, like, I'm a good girl. I follow the rules.
Okay, I am slowly dying. I need to get some water real quick. I'll be right back.
Well, I gotta head out pretty quick because I've got another one at 1:30. I'm so sorry. She had me for 30-minute sessions.
Oh no, I had like several other questions.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, she has me. I have another one at 1:30, so I'm like watching the clock.
Okay, lightning round.
Yes, let's do lightning round.
Okay.
Sorry.
So what are your thoughts on the new Dragon Ball movie coming out?
I'm excited. I cannot wait. We haven't started working on it, but
okay. What role took the most toll on you emotionally?
Ooh, Death Parade. I can't remember her name right now, but I think it's episode 3 or 4. I play a character in Death Parade, and oh my goodness, that one and Miria J, definitely.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Sony buying Crunchyroll?
I mean, we're all one umbrella now. I think it's kind of nice. I don't know what the future holds, but I think it's going to be a good thing for anime fans. And I think it's going to be a good thing for us because it just means more work and we're all under the same umbrella.
Please hire me for that work.
Right.
Please hire me for that work. Are you excited that Devil is a Part-Timer is finally getting a season 2?
Yes. I just hope Emerata's in there. I love her.
Would you like to see Claymore come back as a continuation or get like a whole reboot like Fruit Basket did?
I would love that. Phantom Miria is still to this day one of my favorites. It's one of my first times I got to be like the lower voice badass. So I would love to go back and revisit 100%.
What was probably your silliest role you've played?
Silliest? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go with Bienfu in Tales of Berseria, the game, because he talked like this. He's a little mascot. He wears a little hat. He was pretty silly. I played a lot of critters though, and they're all pretty silly. They're fun though. Hi, cat.
Okay, so what do you like / dislike most about recording from home?
I like being able to record in my pajamas, and being able to roll out of bed and get straight into the booth. I don't like having the responsibility of the game, which is the volume control, because I'm not good at that. And I also miss being around my colleagues. You know, I don't get to see any of the directors. Like, we're all on, calls, but we don't see each other. So I miss seeing my buddies, and it'll be nice to get back into the studio and see all those friendly faces again.
Wait, I had it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? What's one of your favorite shows you've directed and why?
Oh gosh. One of my favorite things that I've directed recently was the Heroes Rising movie with Colleen. We split it and we were actually working at Okratron, but I was in one studio and she was in the other. And because we were under the wire, it was like, it has to be dubbed quickly. But it ended up being one of my favorite examples of directing, because working with that cast and getting to see my colleagues as their characters in that situation, it was just really, really cool. Getting to work with Colleen in that way. We've been friends for years. So that's definitely been one of my favorite experiences.
Yes. Yeah. We all love Carly. We all love Colleen, especially since she's moving on to the big leagues in the Hollywood movies with Sonic.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's in that movie. She's still playing Tails. Oh,
I had no idea.
Yeah, she's in the new Sonic movie.
I had no. Well, you would think she'd tell me. I'll have to text
And my final question, since Sony now has Crunchyroll and Funimation, does that mean more things are going to get dubbed, or is it too early to say what's going to happen in the near future?
I'd say right now it's too early to say.
I did not. Hang on.
There you go.
My bad.
No,
there you go.
Good. I think that it's too early to say.
Mouse is old.
Far. No, you're good. It's too early to say right now. And I certainly, being just an actor, I have no idea like the inner workings. But I would imagine like they've shown that both studios have been doing more and more work and more dubs. So I think that this is just their opportunity to create a bigger umbrella and maybe get into more markets, you know, maybe do more European stuff or do more stuff, you know, in international markets. So I think Sony is being smart, you know, trying to get it all under one umbrella. So we'll see. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good thing. So
yay. Awesome. Well, thank you again for doing this for me. I wish we could talk a bit longer, but no, but it's fine. It's fine. I really hope I get to see you at another con. I would like to have the money to just travel to conventions, feed my unhealthy habit of cons, but hey.
It's hard. I get it. But certainly let's catch up in the future, and good luck to you on your journey. You're going to kick ass. I know it. Just stick with it. All right.
Well,
take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. I'll see you
soon. My heart is full of hatred and loathing for your ugly faces and stupid clothing. Like I said, I hate you jerks. What a bunch of